This is option 4, improving performance, and this video is looking at key idea 1, how do athletes train for improved performance. There are 5 dot points under this key idea, but the right hand side of the syllabus requires students to have an understanding of just two types of training. For my classes I cover both aerobic and anaerobic training, and this video will be for aerobic training. If you are hoping to watch the anaerobic training video, then there should be a link appearing on the screen right now for you to click on. I have a separate video which addresses the right hand side syllabus questions, and a link for that should also be on the screen now. I do advise, however, that you watch both the aerobic and anaerobic videos first. So to the actual dot point of aerobic training, and the starting point should be to define exactly what is aerobic training.
Aerobic exercise is any physical activity that uses large muscle groups and can be maintained continuously for a period of time, either a few minutes or up to several hours. The 2 examples I have on the screen are the 1500 metres in athletics, which is approximately about 4 minutes, and the Ironman triathlon, which is about 9 to 10 hours, depending on your ability. Aerobic training is a type of exercise that overloads both the heart and lungs and causes them to work harder than when they are at rest. When reading about aerobic training, you will see many references to heart rates and training zones. And this is because for an activity to be defined as aerobic training, then it will be between a range of 2 heart rates. Most commonly, this will be between 60 to 80% of maximum heart rate for aerobic training. Any training that is above 80% of maximum heart rate moves into the anaerobic training zone, and that is covered in my anaerobic video. The syllabus suggests 3 types of training that best develops the aerobic system, and they are continuous or uniform training, fartlek training, and long interval training. The first syllabus example is continuous or uniform training. Continuous training is exercise without breaks for at least 20 minutes to several hours, depending on the fitness levels of the athlete and the intensity or heart rate the athlete trains at. I think the best example to use would be training at 70% of maximum heart rate, and a good term to use is steady state exercise, meaning it doesn't vary too much in intensity. The reason continuous training is done is to develop the cardiovascular endurance of the athlete. It is most suitable for sports that are of a continuous nature, such as marathon running, cycling, you can think of the Tour de France here, and 1500 metre swimming. You can relate this to the training principle of specificity. To get maximum benefit out of continuous training, then the athlete should train near the high end of the aerobic training zone. This places greater stress on the aerobic system, and therefore physiological adaptations will occur. Examples of physiological adaptations include lower resting heart rate and higher cardiac output. Regardless of the event being trained for, the athlete should not only just use continuous training, as the more it is used, the greater risk of injuries such as repetitive strain injuries or stress fractures. The next syllabus example is fartlek training. Fartlek is a Swedish word which translates to speed work and is a less structured form of interval training. It involves high intensity bursts of speed mixed in with recovery runs, which can be at walking or jogging pace. You can see this in the example on the video, that the athlete runs at a very quick pace and then backs off for a period of time. It can be run on mixed terrain such as cross-country courses, which adds the principle of variety. This type of training is beneficial as it uses both the aerobic and anaerobic systems. For the high intensity running, it would be over 90% of max heart rate, with the recovery runs dropping back under 70% of max heart rate. The athlete's event they are training for should dictate the structure of a fartlek session. For longer events such as the marathon, the athlete would run at a higher intensity for longer periods of time. Example, 5 minutes followed by a walk or slow jog. Compared to the athlete training for a 5K event, they would run at high intensity for 1 minute with a walk or slow jog recovery. The athlete for both of these events would perform multiple intervals of these over differing time periods and intensities. Example of these could be the 1-2-3, 3-2-1 or pyramid workout. It is run by time, and the numbers in the name of the workout represent minutes to be run. Run 1 minute at high intensity and then you jog for 1 minute. Run 2 minutes at high intensity and then you jog for 2 minutes. Run 3 minutes at high intensity and then you jog for 3 minutes. Having gone up the pyramid, you now descend on the other side and then run a cool down. Another advantage of fartlek is that the athlete can run to feel, so that they could be feeling good while running, and it can extend the length of each high intensity run, or they could perhaps feel the need for a slightly longer recovery. This is especially suitable for the elite athlete.
The next syllabus suggestion for training is long interval. Interval training is high intensity or fast running with recovery periods of slower jogging. For long intervals, the athlete runs hard over any distance between 500 metres up to 3 k's, followed by a recovery jog or walk. Distances under 500 metres get classified as short interval. Interval training can be formed with most types of cardiovascular exercise, such as rowing, swimming or cycling, but I will continue to use running for my examples. Long interval training is more beneficial than continuous training. The body's ability to use oxygen can be improved using interval training. One of the aims of any form of aerobic training is to increase the capacity of how much oxygen muscles can use during exercise. This is known as VO2 max, which is the maximum amount of oxygen the muscles are able to take from the blood and then use. Studies indicate that interval training significantly increases the ability to use oxygen. Not only does it improve the aerobic energy system, but long interval training, because of its intensity of the exercise, also brings improvements to the anaerobic system. Continuous training should be done first before any interval training. This is because the athlete requires a base level of fitness before undertaking interval training. Untrained athletes would struggle to perform multiple intervals and therefore reduce the effectiveness of the session. Considerations for interval training include: the longer the time of the interval gives a better effect. The pace should be comfortable, raising your heart rate to the required intensity of at least over 85% of the maximum heart rate. The number of repetitions should reflect your condition and age. The rest interval should enable you to jog and then bring the heart rate down to near 60% of max heart rate. Example of a session could include 3 times 4 minutes of high intensity running, followed by a recovery of 2 to 3 minutes and running 6 reps at a pace nearing 90% of maximum intensity, or what runners would describe as their 5k pace. The recovery, as I said, is between 2 to 3 minutes between each rep, where a slow jog or walk can be done. As a guide, runners should seldom do more than a total of 10 k's in any fast running during a session. The faster it has been run, then the longer the recovery is required. That is the end of aerobic training. Check out coachpdhpe.com for my anaerobic video. Thanks for watching.